The cry in the dust. The wind was dry and full of smoke. Dust flew in the air like ashes after a fire. War had touched this land many times, and now everything was broken. Roads, trees, even people. Kyle, a human medic, walked carefully through the ruins. His boots crunched over cracked stones. He wore a dirty uniform and carried a medical bag on his back. Around him, soldiers moved fast, pulling wounded humans toward the landing ships. The last transport was almost ready to leave. "Move fast," shouted a soldier. "Evac in 5 minutes." Kyle wiped sweat from his forehead. His eyes were tired, but he kept working. He bent down to check a young soldier's pulse and gave him a pain shot. Then he heard something strange, a voice. Faint, cracked, not human. "Help, please. My baby won't wake up." Kyle turned. He saw her, an alien woman stumbling toward the camp from the smoke. Her body was thin and shaking. Her skin was light gray with blue lines running like veins. Her long arms were holding a small bundle, wrapped in torn cloth, stained with blood and dust. She collapsed to her knees just outside the camp. Her voice was dry, full of pain and fear. "Please. She's not breathing. Please save her." A few soldiers raised their weapons. One of them, Corporal Ricks, yelled, "Keep that Xeno away from the camp. She might be a trap." Kyle didn't move. His eyes were locked on the baby in her arms. The tiny body wasn't moving. No breath, no sound, just stillness. "She's just a mother," Kyle said quietly. "And that's her baby." Ricks grabbed Kyle's arm. "Don't be stupid, Doc. It's not our problem." Kyle looked at him, then at the alien woman. "It's mine now," he said. He ran toward her. The alien mother looked up with tears in her glowing eyes. "She drank from the river," she whispered. "After the bombs fell, the water was dirty. Then she stopped crying. And now she won't wake." Kyle dropped to his knees. He opened his bag, pulled out a small scanner, and tried to check the baby's vitals. But the screen blinked red. Unknown life form. No data. "Damn it," Kyle muttered. He looked at the baby. Small face, soft features, but no movement. He placed 2 fingers gently on her neck. No pulse. He leaned in and gave her a gentle breath, then another. He pressed his hands on her small chest and started chest compressions. Come on." The alien mother watched, not blinking. She was trembling, her hands pressed to her mouth. A minute passed, then 2. Suddenly, the baby gave a tiny twitch. Kyle gasped. "Yes!" He grabbed a vial from his bag. Nano-healers, meant for human babies. He wasn't sure if it would work, but he had no choice. He injected a small dose into the baby's neck. The tiny body twitched again. The baby took a shallow breath, but did not wake. "She needs help," Kyle said to himself. He picked up the baby gently, then looked at the mother. "Can you walk?" I can try," she whispered. But when she stood, she fell again. Her leg was wounded. She couldn't move. Kyle didn't wait. He lifted the mother over his left shoulder, cradled the baby in his right arm, and ran back to camp. "Are you insane?" Ricks shouted. "You're bringing her in?" Kyle ignored him. The transport ship's engines were humming now. The back door was open, but closing fast. He ran faster, past the shouting soldiers, through the smoke and into the ship just before the door shut tight. Inside, people stared. Some yelled. One soldier raised his weapon. Kyle shouted, "This baby will die without help." An officer stepped forward, his face angry. "We don't treat aliens, son. That's not our mission." Kyle stood tall. "Then forget the mission," he said. "I'm treating her." The officer stared at him for a moment, then turned to the pilot. "Take off." The ship lifted into the sky. Kyle sat down on the cold metal floor. He laid the baby in his lap and checked her again. Still breathing, but very weak. The alien mother lying beside him reached out and touched his arm. "Why?" she whispered. Kyle looked at her. "Because no one else did," he said softly. And above the ruined planet, as the ship carried them into the stars, the alien mother closed her eyes. and smiled. Her baby was still alive, and for the first time, she had hope. A race against death. The sky outside the transport ship turned black as they entered orbit. Inside, the baby's chest moved, slow, uneven, weak. Her skin was turning pale purple. The alien mother's hands shook as she touched her child's face. Kyle sat on the cold metal floor scanning the child again. Still no clear readings. His equipment wasn't made for alien bodies. It showed only guesses. Heart rate, critical. Oxygen low, cells breaking down. Not good, he muttered. A human nurse walked by, stared at them, and quickly looked away. No one wanted to get involved. To them, this was an alien problem, but to Kyle, it was a life, a child. "Hang in there, little one," he whispered. "Don't give up." Suddenly, the baby's tiny body jolted. She stopped breathing again. The alien mother screamed, "No, please, save her!" Kyle didn't hesitate. He grabbed a second vial from his bag. This one meant for stabilizing human infants in shock. It wasn't tested on aliens. Could be poison. Could save her. He looked at the mother. "It's dangerous," he warned. "She's already dying," she whispered. Kyle nodded. "Okay." He carefully injected the liquid into the baby's thigh. The moment it entered her system, her body tensed. For a second, she looked like she was about to scream, but her mouth didn't open. Then her eyes twitched. Her fingers moved. She took a shaky breath. Kyle exhaled. The mother sobbed and held her child close. "Thank you. Thank you." But Kyle's relief was short-lived. The ship's radio crackled. "Base command to evac transport, return immediately. Bring back the human medic." He broke protocol and aided the enemy. "He's to be arrested." Kyle froze. Arrested? He looked around the ship. Soldiers were already whispering, checking weapons. The pilot spoke. "Orders from command. Kyle, you'll be handed over once we land." The alien mother's eyes widened. "They'll kill you." Kyle didn't answer. He looked at the baby in her arms, then at the humans around him. Most were cold, quiet. Some looked at him with disgust. "We're all dying out here," Kyle said softly. "But we choose how we live." The ship landed back at Base 9, one of the last outposts before full retreat. As soon as the ramp dropped, soldiers stormed in. "Kyle Morgan, hands up." Kyle raised his arms slowly. He didn't fight. He only said, "Take the mother and baby to the medical bay, please." The commander stepped forward, a tall, hard man with a face like steel. "You don't give orders here, medic. You're done." The alien mother clutched Kyle's coat. "Don't take him. He saved her. He saved us." The commander stared at her like she was an insect. "Aliens don't speak here." He pushed her aside. The baby let out a weak, soft cry. Everyone paused. It was the first sound she had made. Kyle smiled. "She's alive." But the moment was broken when the commander ordered, "Lock him up." 2 guards grabbed Kyle. The alien mother cried out, trying to reach him, but she was pulled away. They threw Kyle into a dark cell, cold and alone. His hands were tied, his tools were gone. Hours passed, maybe more. Then, a sound. Footsteps. The door creaked open, and someone stepped inside. Not a guard. It was her, the alien mother. How did she get in? She was barefoot, her face cut and bruised. In her hands, she held the baby, now wrapped in a clean blanket. The child was sleeping peacefully. "You saved her," she said. Kyle nodded slowly. "Is she okay now?" "She will live." She knelt beside him. "Now, I save you." She pulled a strange crystal from around her neck and held it to the door's lock. It glowed softly. The cell door opened. Kyle stared in shock. "How?" The alien mother whispered. "This is a bloodstone. Sacred. It opens doors when a life debt is owed." Kyle got to his feet. "Where will we go?" "To the stars," she said. "To a place where mercy still matters." Together, they stepped into the dark hallway. and far away, alarms began to ring. Judged by his own. The alarm lights flashed red, sirens howled through the base like angry ghosts, doors locked, cameras turned. Human soldiers ran in every direction. Something had triggered a full lockdown. In the center of it all, Kyle was running. He held the alien child close to his chest. She was light but warm, her breathing steady now. Behind him, the alien mother limped, trying to keep up. Her legs still hurt, but she didn't stop. Not when her daughter was alive. Not when the man who saved her was now a criminal. They slipped through a service hallway, hiding between crates of old supplies. Kyle checked each corner before moving. The sound of boots grew louder. Soldiers were searching every room. "This way," Kyle whispered. They entered an old maintenance tunnel, barely wide enough to walk. The metal walls were cold. Wires hung loose from the ceiling. Sparks flickered. The alien mother asked softly, "Why are your people so angry?" Kyle didn't answer right away. He had no good answer, just pain. "They're afraid," he said at last. "Of change, of caring for someone who doesn't look like them." They reached the end of the tunnel and stepped into a lower chamber. Kyle stopped. 3 soldiers were already there, weapons raised. "Don't move," one barked. Kyle raised his hand slowly. "The child is safe now, let her go. Do what you want with me." But the alien mother stepped in front of him. "No," she said loudly. "He is under my protection." The soldiers laughed. "Under your protection? You're just a Xeno with a baby." But before they could move, a voice cut through the radio on the wall. "Stand down. Bring them both to the council chamber. Now." The soldiers froze. That voice belonged to General Halverson, the highest officer at Base 9. They were led through tight halls, eyes watching from every doorway. Soldiers glared. Medics whispered. Some looked confused, others disgusted. Inside the council chamber, Kyle stood. In front of a large screen with 3 human commanders sitting behind a metal desk. Cold faces, no smiles. "You are Kyle Morgan," said the woman in the center. "Medic, rank 3, assigned to Medical Unit Delta." "Yes," Kyle said quietly. "You disobeyed direct orders. You brought an alien into a human war zone. You risked contamination. You used human medicine on a non-human life form. Do you deny this?" "I don't deny it," Kyle said. "I did what I had to do. To save a baby." The male officer on the left narrowed his eyes. "That baby was not your responsibility." Kyle looked at the alien mother. She held her daughter close, silent but proud. "She is now," he replied. Murmurs rose in the chamber. The woman commander leaned forward. "You are not here to give speeches. You are here to be judged." Just then, something shocking happened. The alien mother stepped forward boldly and removed a glowing object from under her tunic. It was a silver pendant shaped like a tear. It sparkled with blue light. She knelt before the commanders and held it up. Gasps filled the room. "That is a life bond crystal," the woman whispered. "From the Zareen tribes." "She gave it to him," someone muttered. The alien mother spoke in a clear, soft voice. "In my world, this crystal is sacred. It is passed only when a soul saves another. Kyle Morgan has saved my daughter. He has saved my future. He is now my blood guardian." The chamber went silent. Even the commanders didn't speak. After a pause, the third officer finally said, "And what do you expect us to do with this?" She stood slowly. "Respect it." Then she held the baby up high. "Look into her eyes," she said. "She is alive because your soldier chose mercy." The baby blinked. Her eyes were soft and glowing. She smiled. The woman commander rubbed her face. Then she looked at Kyle. "Your actions were reckless," she said. "You broke rules, risked our safety. But you saved a life and maybe saved something more important, our humanity." She looked around the room. We will not punish you, Kyle Morgan. But you are no longer a soldier. Kyle took a deep breath. He was free but exiled. He looked at the alien mother. She reached out her hand. Come with us, she said. You have no home here, but maybe you have one with us. Kyle looked once more at his commanders. Then he took her hand. The Child Between Worlds. The stars looked different from the alien ship. Kyle stood at the window of the foreign vessel, watching space stretch like a black ocean filled with glowing islands. He had seen stars before, but never like this. Behind him, soft music played, strange, beautiful notes from a Zarine healing instrument. It sounded like a mother's lullaby. The baby was still asleep, but something was wrong. Hours earlier, after leaving the human base, Kyle had joined the alien mother and her child aboard a Zarine scout ship. It was warm, quiet, and alive. The walls pulsed gently, like breathing. The ship was built from organic crystal, glowing with soft blue light. Inside a healing room, the baby lay on a living bed. Her chest rose and fell, but her skin was changing color. First soft blue, then pale, then gray. Kyle touched her tiny hand. She's cold. The alien mother, named Sahari, placed a hand on her daughter's forehead. She is caught between two paths. What does that mean? Kyle asked. She was given human medicine, Sahari said. Now her body is confused. She is Zarine, but part of her is trying to become something else. Kyle froze. Are you saying I changed her? You saved her, Sahari said gently. But now she must decide which path she lives by. The ship's healers arrived. Tall, elegant Zarine with glowing skin and robes that shimmered like fog. They spoke in calm tones and began scanning the baby. Their tools were not machines. They used light, sound, and crystal resonance, no wires, no metal. It felt more like magic than science. She is merging, said one healer. Her cells are rewriting. She may live, but she may not remain Zarine. Kyle stared at the sleeping baby. What will she become? The healer looked at him. Something new. As the hours passed, Kyle refused to leave the child's side. He stayed awake, holding her hand, whispering stories. Sahari sat beside him. You gave her part of yourself, she said softly. I didn't mean to, Kyle said. But maybe the stars did, Sahari replied. Just then, the baby's eyes opened. But they were no longer fully Zarine. One eye glowed like her mother's, soft blue with shifting light, but the other was brown. Human. Sahari gasped. Her eyes. Kyle leaned in. The baby stared at him and let out a small sound, almost like a word. Ka. He smiled, tears filling his eyes. She spoke. No, Sahari whispered. She named you. Kyle looked at her. She called me Ka. It is the Zarine word for soul light. Sahari's voice trembled. It means the one who lights the soul in dark times. Kyle looked down at the baby, half Zarine, half something else. She was the first of her kind, but peace did not last. The ship's alarms suddenly rang, soft, echoing chimes. A Zarine soldier entered. A message from the human fleet. They are demanding the return of Kyle Morgan. They say he stole classified medicine. They want him back. Sahari stood. He is under Zarine protection. They cannot take him. They say if we do not return him, they will consider it an act of war. Kyle stood silent. He looked at Sahari, then at the child. I don't want to cause war, he said. You are not the cause, she replied. But you are the symbol. The healers gathered around the baby again. Her skin was changing faster now, lines of soft human warmth mixing with alien crystal-like textures. She blinked slowly. Her breathing slowed. She needs both of you now, the lead healer said. She must feel love from both worlds. Sahari took her hand. Kyle took the other. They closed their eyes and whispered to her. Stories. Memories. Hope. Then, a pulse of light spread from the baby's chest. Every Zareen in the room gasped. The baby floated slightly above the bed, surrounded by light. The two worlds inside her, Zareen and human, had made peace. She opened her mouth, and for the first time, spoke clearly. I am Luma. The ship fell silent. The child had chosen a name for herself, and something new had been born. Not just a baby, but a bridge between two species. The trial and the threat. On the human side of space, Kyle Morgan was labeled a traitor. But on the Zareen side, he was something far more dangerous. A symbol of unity they feared would spark a war. News of the hybrid child Luma spread across both galaxies like wildfire. Some saw her as a miracle. Some saw her as a threat. The Zareen Council called an emergency summit. So did the Human Galactic Command. And in the middle of both storms stood Kyle. Inside a vast Zareen temple made of living crystal, Kyle sat in a glowing circle, surrounded by alien leaders. Their skin shimmered with emotion, their eyes changing color with every thought. Sahari stood beside him, holding Luma in her arms. The child was calm, her eyes, one blue, one brown, watching the council with curiosity. The lead elder spoke in a voice like music. You are Kyle Morgan, of Earth. I am, Kyle answered. You have broken laws, changed blood, created something new, without permission. Kyle took a breath. I didn't plan any of this, I just couldn't let her die. Another elder leaned forward. She is not fully Zareen now. She is a fusion. Your kind would call it a genetic anomaly. Kyle shook his head. She is not a mistake. She's proof we can share something better than war. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then Sahari stepped forward. If saving a life is a crime, then we are all guilty. But, while the Zareen debated on Earth in the Human High Command, another kind of discussion was taking place. This one behind closed doors. A cold-faced general spoke to the room full of military officers. The Zareen are hiding a weapon. A half-human child born from our stolen technology. If this spreads, we lose control of the outer colonies. Another officer asked, You mean Kyle Morgan? No. I mean the child. If she lives, humans will start bonding with aliens. Families, peace talks, marriages. You think Earth's people are ready for that? He slammed his fist on the table. That child is a spark. We need to snuff it out. Back on the Zareen ship, a secret message came through to the Alien Council from the humans. One demand. Return Kyle Morgan and the hybrid child, or Earth will break the peace treaty. Sahari's hands trembled as she read it. They'll go to war over a baby, she whispered. Kyle didn't speak. He just looked at Luma, sleeping in her crystal crib. One life, so small, yet shaking two galaxies. The Zareen elders were afraid. Some voted to give Kyle back. Others wanted to send Luma to a hidden moon, far from both species. Kyle stood up. No, he said. All eyes turned to him. I won't hide. I won't let her grow up in fear. He pointed to a glowing orb in the center of the council chamber. Call a public gathering. Let both humans and Zareen see her. Let the people decide what kind of future they want. The elders were shocked. You want to show her to the galaxy? One whispered. Are you mad? No, Kyle said. I'm a medic. I save lives. And right now, this is the only way to save millions. 2 days later, the Zareen prepared for the broadcast. A giant hall was open to visitors of both races. Screens lit up across human and alien cities. The galaxy watched. Kyle stepped onto the platform with Sahari and Luma. He looked into the camera, speaking from the heart. I didn't plan to become part of your politics. I didn't want fame or conflict. I only wanted to save one child. He looked at Luma. She was dying, alone, and I couldn't turn away. The audience was silent. Maybe we're not ready to live together. Maybe some of you hate what we are, but this child didn't choose to be born. She just chose to live. He turned to the crowd, and I chose to help her. Then something incredible happened. Luma stood up by herself. She raised her hand, and her voice echoed in both human and alien languages at once. I am not war. The entire hall froze. Then a single alien elder stood. I stand with her. Then a human pilot raised his hand. So do I. One by one more joined, until half the room was standing, but in the shadows a red light blinked. A message from Earth Command. Deploy assassin team. End this now. Escape from command. They smiled in front of cameras, but behind closed doors the kill order had already been sent. The humans wanted the child gone, and they sent ghosts to do it. The moment the speech ended, the hall filled with cheers. Aliens and humans stood together. It was a moment of peace. Short, beautiful, and powerful. But it didn't last. Far above the planet, cloaked in deep orbit, a black stealth ship hovered. Inside, 3 human assassins prepared for silent entry. They wore exosuits, moved without sound, and carried one target order. Terminate the hybrid child. Do not engage in diplomacy. Back on the surface, Kyle held Luma in his arms as she waved to the crowd. Her glow had returned, part Zareen, part human, fully alive. Sahari stood proudly beside them. The alien child had become a symbol, but symbols make enemies. Kyle's communicator buzzed. It was a private Zareen soldier whispering from the shadows. Kyle, you must leave now. There is danger. Human command sent hunters. Kyle's face froze. He turned to Sahari. They're here. The humans sent assassins. Sahari's eyes widened. No, not after what just happened. They don't want peace. They want control. They ran. No speeches now. No cameras. Just empty back tunnels lit by glowing vines. Luma clung to Kyle's chest, sensing danger, her eyes alert. Behind them, the black suit assassins landed silently in the garden dome, cutting through crystal glass without a sound. One of them raised, his hand scanning for a heat trail. Target heading west, move. In the tunnels, Kyle and Sahari reached a locked gate. It won't open, Sahari said. This leads to the outer launch bay. Kyle placed Luma down gently and pulled out. A crystal Sahari had given him days earlier, a symbol of life debt. He pressed it into the gate. The door blinked, then slowly opened, but too late. A high-pitched whine echoed behind them. A stun dart flew past Kyle's head and shattered against the wall. Move! He shouted, scooping Luma into his arms. Sahari threw a flare crystal behind them. Light exploded, blinding the first assassin for 2 seconds. It was enough. They ran through the gate into the next chamber, a living Zareen hangar full of organic ships. One small vessel sat ready. A scout runner, fast, light, no weapons. We're taking that. Run, Kyle said. But you can't fly Zareen craft, Sahari warned. I don't have to, Kyle said. She can. He looked at Luma. The baby blinked and placed her hand on the ship's skin. It pulsed. The ship woke up. Its side opened with a soft sigh. Kyle and Sahari jumped in. Outside, the assassins fired another shot, but the hangar doors slammed shut. Too late, one said. They're in the air. In the pilot seat, Luma's tiny hand rested on a glowing orb. The ship moved like it knew her. Kyle, Sahari whispered. She's connected to the ship's living core. She's flying us. The stars spun as the ship jumped into light speed, but the danger wasn't over. A coded message echoed inside Kyle's comlink. You are now a Class 1 defector. Earth has declared you an enemy of human command. Return the child or be hunted forever. Kyle crushed the device under his boot. I made my choice, he said. Let them come. Hours later, their ship glided into deep space, far from human territory, deeper than Zareen maps could reach. The stars out here were unknown, silent, safe. For now. Kyle laid down, holding Luma, who was now asleep. Sahari sat beside him, her voice quiet. She saved us. Kyle nodded. And now we save her future. But far away, deep in human military space, the council was not finished. A new project began. They called it the Silence Protocol, a plan to wipe out every memory of the child through propaganda, covert strikes, and betrayal, because they were not afraid of war, they were afraid of hope. Mercy beyond borders. They ran far into forgotten space, chased by governments and hunted by fear. But what the galaxy didn't understand was simple. Luma wasn't just a child. She was the beginning of something greater. Kyle sat beside the viewing window, staring at the stars. They were deeper into space now than any human had traveled without orders. The Zarine scout runner floated through a quiet system with no name. Just light, silence, peace. Luma lay asleep in his arms, glowing softly. Her skin no longer flickered between human and Zarine. It was something new, hers alone. Sahari walked in from the back of the ship, holding a small stone. It pulsed blue in her hand. This came from the core of our ship, she said. It's calling us. Calling us where? Kyle asked. She smiled. To the garden between galaxies. Kyle frowned. That's just a myth. Sahari sat beside him. Maybe. But the crystal remembers a place. A world untouched by war or walls. A place where hybrids like Luma might grow, without fear. Kyle looked down at the sleeping girl. Then let's find it. But before they could move, an alert blinked on the console. Unknown signal detected. Approaching vessel, the ship's walls pulsed red. Kyle stood quickly, placing Luma in a stasis cradle. Are we tracked? Sahari touched the console with both hands. It's not human. The screen lit up. An alien ship, unlike anything they'd ever seen, hovered before them. Its surface shifted like liquid metal. It had no weapons, no words, only music. Soft notes like a song from long ago played into their minds. Then, in perfect Zarine and English, the voice came. We've been waiting for the child. The ship's door opened. Kyle grabbed his stun blade. Sahari reached for Luma, but as the alien light spilled in, Luma woke. She stood on her tiny legs and walked to the edge of the ramp, alone. The song grew louder, warmer. She turned and looked at her parents, one human, one Zarine, and smiled. It's okay, she said. They're not here to harm us. The light wrapped around her gently like arms. It lifted her into the air, and in that moment, Kyle saw visions, not memories but futures. Luma in a peaceful city of many species, Luma teaching others, Luma holding hands with other hybrid children laughing. A new age. The alien voice returned. She will return when the galaxy is ready, when mercy is no longer rare, when fear no longer rules the stars. Kyle stepped forward, heart pounding. Will she be safe? She is the bridge. We will guard her like the dawn. The light folded inward, and then the alien ship was gone. Sahari collapsed into Kyle's arms, weeping quietly. He held her tight. She's not gone, he said. She's where she belongs now. Months later, the Human Council fell into crisis. Public broadcasts of Luma's speech leaked into outer colonies. Soldiers laid down weapons. Civilians painted her image on walls. They called her the child who glowed, a symbol of the future. Kyle and Sahari vanished from radar, but sometimes, in the far corners of new colonies, people claimed to see a small ship, no weapons, just lights. A ship that carried a man with soft eyes, and a woman with glowing skin. People whispered that they were looking for children like Luma. Children, with two worlds in their blood. And so Mercy did not die. It flew quietly across the stars, planting seeds, waiting for the day when the galaxy would be ready.